Hello there. This vlog is going to be prep for the Series 2 Podler Public Experiments. For those who wish to try out the Series 2 of Podler Public Experiments, the given going forward is that the experiments for Series 1 have been completed successfully. As mentioned previously, there are 5 gears of Mojo reading, of which gears 1 and 2 are the focus in the beginning. In the Series 1 experiments, we went over some of the Gear 2 Q distinctions, which were dir versus ad, sub versus ob, and jez versus zez. Gear 2 Q distinctions involve the combination or interplay of 2 or more physiological cue palettes interacting with each other. In the Series 2 experiments, we'll be working with the Gear 1 Q distinctions, which are the individual physiological cue palettes. In the Series 1 experiments, you were introduced to your personal lens. You have some initial experience now then with connecting to it, as well as how it feels to fatigue your lens, and also how it feels to discipline yourself to keep it focused. This focus concentration is key, as you'll be using it to a greater degree in the Series 2 experiments to hone in on more subtle physiological cues. Like a metaphysical athlete working up to perform various feats, you need to have a strong connection to your lens, its state of being, and how to give yourself the best chance for success in performance. Some things to note in order to bonus stack yourself to have the strongest lens possible are: interest level. Getting into the mindset of excitement about doing the experiments helps greatly. Note how your interest levels influenced your performance. Anything you can note about yourself regarding what mood you are in when you perform better is good to keep track of, as is noting anything you find helpful in getting yourself into that headspace. Rest between experiments. In doing the 3 Series 1 experiments, note how fatigue influenced your performance, in either scoring or ease of doing it in general. This includes what your recovery time to refresh your lens is between doing the 3 different experiments, during various stages of a given experiment, and also in doing endurance runs with the data. Time of day. You may find a certain time of day allows you to concentrate more, perhaps during the morning when you are freshest, perhaps in the middle of the day when you are the most awake, or perhaps at night when other demands of the day have already been met. See if there are any patterns to this for you, and if so, try to maximize this going into the Series 2 experiments. Breathing. Use of steadying breaths can be very helpful. Taking a few slow, deep breaths before starting brings one into a state of heightened awareness of being present and balanced. Feel yourself reach out and make contact with your lens you've been using in the Series 1. Try to make this contact before beginning the experiment. Each time you start a new experiment, which introduces you to a new part of your lens, take a few moments of deep breathing to make this contact. Note how the contact is with a more holistic sense of what your lens is, as you learn more about what your lens is capable of doing, as well as the increased ease and comfort of making the connection to it. Also, this breathing and connecting can be done to good effect whenever you get an answer incorrect or a series of them incorrect, which can rattle you. You can take a moment for a few slow, deep breaths to help recenter yourself and regain your equilibrium. Warming up. In addition to the pre-performance connecting, this connection can also be increased by taking the first few samples slower than your normal pace. This gives time and space for your lens to find the kind of cue it is trying to reach for. This can help build you into a state of flow, where the cues pop out easier. You may have experienced periods of this flow during the Series 1 experiments. Look to get into the state as much as possible. Taking time to breathe into it before starting, going slowly at first, and knowing that there is a state of flow to strive for and to be open to, all help out in this regard. Also, like breathing deep to recenter yourself when missing a few in a row is helpful in resetting, so can reducing your pace for a bit to help ease you back into your flow state, where your lens is strongest. Talking out loud to yourself. There is a great deal of mental conversating that goes on when doing Mojo reading. This conversation is your mental faculties pondering and weighing and counterpointing the various things your lens may or may not be seeing. This is a subtle conversation that is critical to observing and correctly distinguishing the subtle physiological cues. You want to be open to this conversation in your mind's eye, letting it come to you when it presents itself, but also trying to actively elicit this conversation and amplify its volume. talking things out that are coming to your mind, such as, I think I'm seeing such and such, but I'm not sure about such and such, or I think I'm seeing such and such, and maybe that means such and such. This helps put you into a more conscious contact with this process, which often operates in a more subconscious manner. Doing this all the time may be fatiguing or take you out of your flow state, but it can be a very powerful tool when you are working with a sample that is harder for you, or you feel your lens start to waver off point due to fatigue or distraction. A distraction-free environment. Since the physiological cues being looked for are subtle signals, any other signals going on in the environment around you can overwhelm the process. So you want to be in an area that is as free of distractions as possible. Background noise or even just the anticipation of possible interruption can add significant difficulty to the process. Ambient sound. A quiet place and time can often be ideal, but sometimes people have a hard time getting into an ideal studious mode in total silence, so having a non-distracting ambient soundscape can be helpful. White noise or instrumental music can sometimes be better than pure silence. Also, quiet time and space might not always be possible, so having a way to mask background noise is a good tool to have in one's kit. Isolating the variables. Finally, the experiments themselves for Series 2 will try as best possible to isolate the variables so that there is an easier time honing in on them. For this reason, these Series 2 experiments will have more stages with shorter quizzes in order to better achieve this goal. Whenever you feel up to it, proceed to the Series 2 experiments. There are 4 of them in total, with 2 of them being in the Part A portion and 2 in the Part B portion. Links for all 4 experiments can be found in the description box below. Any feedback you have about your experience and trying out the experiments is greatly appreciated. You can post them in the comments section of these YouTube videos themselves or in the forum thread on our website dedicated to this purpose. That link is also in the description box below. Good luck and enjoy.